Thank you, Chairman. You're from the 6th borough, right, in Florida, of New York?
Yes, I actually am.
Okay. Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Davis, modern port operations rely heavily on digital logistics, AI-driven cargo tracking, and automated systems, making them highly dependent on cyber networks and interconnected technologies. If the People's Republic of China controlled ports in Latin America or even PRC-affiliated terminals within U.S. ports were compromised, it could provide the Chinese Communist Party with the capability to conduct espionage, manipulate global supply chains, or even sabotage critical logistics operations in a crisis scenario. In your assessment, how susceptible are Western Hemisphere ports to cyber intrusions or sabotage by PRC-affiliated entities?
Thanks for the question, Congressman. It's a good one, especially it kind of segues nicely to changing nature of threats to ports, especially as Internet of Things, IoT, more connected equipment at the ports, right? I don't want to opine too much on what's happening at Latin American facilities because I think my fellow panelists probably have a little bit better view. But in the United States, we of course take this super seriously. Whether it's daily interface with federal agencies, CISA, U.S. Coast Guard, which is the lead agency for cybersecurity at seaports, CISA, U.S. Coast Guard. I personally sit on a DHS Maritime Sector Coordinating Council where we share threat information across the maritime supply chain, not even just ports, but tug and barge, carriers, marine terminals. So we have fora, including the ISAC, Information Security Analysis Center, where we share information about threats across all the players in the chain. Ultimately, I point to the LogInc example. This was a Chinese-developed software. I'm not sure of its status in use at ports around the world, but this is a great success story of U.S. government in partnership with industry identifying something that carried too much risk that we didn't want to upload or use in our IT and OT at ports. And so we stiff-armed it and said, we're not going to use this at U.S. ports. So I see that as a great success story in terms of the collaboration with industry and government.
So you think government's doing a good enough job right now to keep, to reduce the U.S. maritime sector reliance on PRC manufacturing port equipment, or do you think there's more that we can do, and does Congress need to act?
I think our ongoing partnership is strong and satisfactory, but if we do want to take further steps to regain further control over our supply chains and where our equipment's manufactured, we do support a reshoring program for large-scale cargo handling equipment, such as cranes and other cargo handling equipment at ports.
You talk about the ISAC and information sharing. Is it pretty free-flowing between private sector partners as well as government? Are you getting good information, timely information shared by U.S. Coast Guard and CISA, or could that be better?
It's pretty good. I'd love to work with you and your staff to improve it. I've seen how ISACs work in other critical infrastructure sectors like banking, healthcare, et cetera, and we probably have a bit to go to get to that robustness. And it's certainly not government's issue either. We could share information better just simply among industry, and that's what a trade association's for as well. So I'd love to work to strengthen it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Davis. Dr. Cronin, despite the well-documented security risks associated with the PRC's manufactured surveillance systems, including cameras from Hikvision and network security systems from Huawei, they remain prevalent in Latin American ports and logistic hubs. These facilities are critical to U.S. trade and often handle shipments bound for American ports. The presence of PRC-controlled surveillance systems raises concerns over whether China's Communist Party could use its infrastructure to track U.S.-bound cargo, collect intelligence on U.S. business operations, or gain insight into regional military activities. Do you believe the continued expansion of PRC-affiliated surveillance technology in Latin American ports presents a security risk?
Yes, it does present a security risk for all the reasons that you mentioned. And I'd say even more broadly, if China comes to control the digital infrastructure of the 21st century in Latin America, in the global south, what does that mean for the future of democracy and human rights in those regions? What does it mean for their global alliances? So I think this is a threat to the United States, and that we should encourage regional allies to de-risk from China and to end cooperation with China and with Huawei, and then also to work to provide them alternatives.
How do we encourage them to de-risk? What can Congress do?
Well, I think one is making the case and making clear that we're not asking them to choose between the United States and China. There are areas where they can continue to have productive relations with China, but there are areas like this where it's in their national security interest and in our national security interest that they end the program. And then the second thing that Congress can do is work to find alternatives. Help the administration to develop a coordinated plan with allies. If the United States is doing it on its own, that's one thing. If we can do it in partnership with the Europeans, the Japanese, and others, that's much more powerful. Provide incentives for the private sector through DFC and some of the other mechanisms that have been mentioned. So again, encourage them to de-risk and then provide alternatives.
Thank you. I yield back.